and and there we spoke with tool makers who worked on that project, and they said, well, the engineers of I think it was Frog, they said, this is the design, and you cannot change anything. This is the design, and yeah, and then they got yield loss. They 50% of the products that came out of the injection molds, they
Mm,
were no good, which makes everything really expensive, which creates a lot of delays in production.
mm,
So that dialogue between the mold maker and the designers, I think, is really important. The designer has the design intent, and this is what needs to be realized. This is what I want to achieve,
mm,
but it should not be cast in iron because, yeah, there's practical considerations. If you want to design a cube with 90 degrees angles,
mm.
a perfect cube is really expensive to make because then you need sliders to open it up in the mold, and that makes it a lot more expensive. The cheapest way, the cheapest shape to make is like, say, a Big Mac box that has a lot of draft angles,
Mm.
so it gets out of the mold very easily.
Yeah.
And so there is that, like, do you want it to be perfect or do you want it to be affordable? And
I suppose
there,
that's why it's important to have that relationship with the manufacturer where you can just sort of bounce ideas off them instead of, going too far down the design process and then, then engaging them at the end. It's better to sort of have them early on so you can, work
yeah,
through issues.
yeah, yeah,
Mm,
yeah. And not to be too stringent about it, like it must be like this, because
mm,
and every mold maker and every factory is a little bit different. One of the big learnings, I think, over the years is that there is no universal design for manufacturing. There is design for Bob's factory and Bob's mold maker and Bob's cable tree maker and Bob's you need a lot of components, obviously, and it's that whole supply chain that comes with a factory that is important. And so you really need to gear your design for that, and that's why, yeah, indeed, getting getting your manufacturer involved early on in the process
mm.
is so important.
As well.
That is like 80% of the cost of an electronic product,
Mm,
often. And so finding the right components to design around then becomes really important because of, yeah, 80% of your price is dictated by the price of your components. You really need to select those components very carefully.
mm,
And that's a mistake that I see with a lot of designers in the West, that they look on the internet, they find a nice camera module that has really good quality and the exact right specs, and then they start developing their electronics around it, and they spend 9 months to optimize all the firmware so that the image comes out just right.
mm,
And then, for example, I talked with a design house in Amsterdam. They take their whole design package to a factory in China or in Taiwan or in wherever, and then the factory says, yeah, we cannot get this module here.